How's it going, everyone, and welcome to FIFA 18 Career Mode. That's right, it's finally that time of year again where the full release of FIFA 18 has just come out. For those of you who obviously have Xbox and EA Early Access, you'd have been able to access the FIFA 18 as of last Friday, I believe, for your 10-hour trial. But as of today, at the time of recording this, which is the 26th of September, if you pre-ordered the Icon or the Ronaldo edition, you will have access to the full game today. For those of you who don't, of course, you'll have to be waiting until Friday for full access to the game. But I have been fortunate enough to get my hands on the Ronaldo edition, which means I can start bringing you content today. Now, of course, we're going to be jumping straight back into the career mode. Just want to say thank you guys for the support on the FIFA 17 career mode. We did 2 and a bit seasons with Fulham. Apologies, it kind of stopped a little abruptly, but just sort of ran out of time. But we did well. I think we won the championship, if I do recall correctly, and then I do recall that in dramatic circumstances we did indeed win the Premier League. So we had a successful season at Fulham. This year we're going to be taking it up a little bit of a level. We're going to be starting in the Premier League. And as you guys can tell by the title of the video, we will be joining the newly promoted seaside town of Brighton and Hove Albion. So we're going to jump into the manager career mode, guys. And if you can, drop a like on this video if you're enjoying FIFA 18 so far. Let me know what your thoughts are on the game and if you're excited for more FIFA 18 content. So we shall jump into Brighton as our team for the season. So domestic success is very low, continental success also very low, brand exposure and financials are medium, and youth development's very low indeed. So really not too many challenging board expectations to start us off here. Quick establishment of Brighton and Hove. They of course were established in 1901. The club was founded in 1901 at a public house on Ship Street in Brighton. They currently compete in the Premier League, which is the highest tier in the Football League system of England. Brighton was Sussex only representatives in the Football League until 2011 when Crawley were promoted to Football League 2. We have a transfer budget of £27.8 million almost, which is actually quite nice. It's going to give us some funds to sort of start the career mode off with, which will be very interesting indeed. The club is currently worth £382 million, some nice kits, and of course the Amex Stadium here on FIFA 18 this season. So we shall enter my name, which of course you guys probably know by now, and we shall be the same as always, and of course we shall be British, so I'll just pop my surname in there. So I think there's some new character faces for this year, potentially not. I think we used this guy last year, or this guy, can't really remember too much, but we'll try and mix it up a little bit. I mean, none of these really look like me, do they? We don't want to use the same guy as last year. So I think we'll go with this guy because we definitely didn't use him last year. And I'm going to be a suit kind of man because that's what I like to be. So that's all set up. We're going to be playing on Legendary, of course. We'll play 5 minutes half stadium, download the latest. Now, usually I disable the first summer transfer window, but because, I don't know, I feel like I want to get an early engagement with you guys for the career mode. We're going to leave it on this time round and we'll start to make some signings. I'm not going to make too many signings in this summer window just because obviously Brighton have already made signings, so you don't really want to add too many things to the team. But we shall of course have the Champions League and Europa League switched on, and we shall advance forward. So we're going to download the latest squad updates and then we're going to jump into the homepage once it's loaded. So then, guys, just as while this loads, we're at the EA Sports Insider. Of course, there's some new features here on Career Mode this season, which I'll start to point out a little bit. You guys have probably seen it all before, though, to be perfectly honest. But as and when they pop up, we'll start to point out. And if you saw the little news feed before then, if I sort of move myself out of the way, and if you can see that we've got some sort of interactive transfer negotiations this season, which is a new feature here on FIFA 18, which is super excited about. The only thing, in my opinion, is if that happens like with every player that you try and sign, I can imagine that particularly if you're at like a smaller club and you're trying to bring in a lot of players, like sort of maybe on loan or just bring in a few youngsters, it could take a bit of a while to complete all the deals. But the one thing I do like is that 90% of the time, because it's not 100%, but 90% of the time, all the deals go through on the same day. So you can agree a transfer fee, you can agree a contract, you can sign the player all in one day instead of having to advance forward like 3 or 4 days as in previous FIFAs. This year it all happens on one day. I say only 90% because, of course, if you guys have probably seen there are exceptions to that, where the club representatives of the scouts and, of course, the players, they can stall on the actual deal or on agreeing contract terms. So it doesn't always go through on day one, but like I said, 90% of the time it does. So then we're going to jump in to the pre-season tournament. Of course, we have been invited to do that, and we shall accept the invitation. Now, we will be playing through this pre-season tournament just so that we can try and get the most out of it. Obviously, I want to win the competition, but as it's pre-season, we'll leave the highlights to a minimum, so literally just going to be goals or any clear-cut chances that may pop up. And of course, we'll be taking the one that offers the most money, which is actually going to be the one located in Belgium. It's only 3.5 star, which they're all 3.5 star, but you get the same, but you get the best prize money from this one. So we're going to be doing the European International Cup. We've of course, I think that's Club Brugge in there, Chicago Fire by the looks of it, Hull City, and maybe Standard Liège are the ones I can duly note from that little graphic. My club badges aren't that up to scratch, but hopefully I've nailed those quite a little bit. In terms of EA Sports Catalogue, guys, just as some of you are probably going to point out, I'm going to be leaning not towards using that, so the sort of things like Scout Future Stars and financial takeovers and things like that, not going to be looking at using that at all in this time round. Maybe in the future, you never know, but from sort of like day one, we're not really going to be interested in that. So of course we've been entered into the International Cup. That's just some news on that. We'll take a look at our expectations in a minute. We have of course got ourselves a scout, and that would be Charlie Hall, who is one of the scouts. So we'll head over to the scouts in just a moment. We'll take a quick look first, though. Let me just remove this. Apologies. God, AVG trying to interrupt my recording, which we definitely don't want. So we'll take a look at our objectives in full. So overall, they want us to reach the round of 32 in the FA Cup, which is doable, and finish mid-table, which I'm quite happy by. And they'd want us to grow one youth academy player by 5 overall points, and once they've done that, play them in 5 games as a starting 11 or as a sub. Potentially, we could do that. So that, of course, is our youth development, which is very low. It's quite easy, and perhaps something that we'll probably be able to do over time here in this Brighton career mode. In terms of brand exposure then, within 3 seasons, which is a very long-term goal in my opinion, they only want us to increase season tickets holders by at least 10%. So hopefully we might be able to do that in the first season if we're lucky enough to do so. In terms of financials, again another long-term objective. Within 3 seasons they want us to increase the club worth by 30%. Again, that should be relatively easy. Domestic success, of course, not too great. Obviously, there's not really that many expectations of Brighton now that they've joined the Premier League. Of course, staying in the Premier League is probably the main objective. They want us to finish mid-table, though, as opposed to avoid relegation. So perhaps a little bit higher than anticipated, but doable in my opinion, and they want us to reach the round of 32. And, of course, not yet in continental competitions, but hopefully next season we might be. So we're going to jump into our scouts then. I'm not going to look at these in too much detail just at the moment, but there's a few players on there. Of course, guys, this is an interactive season, so drop your comments down below about who you want me to sign. I'm not sure Sergio Aguero is an ideal target for me at this moment in time, but a couple of other players here that I might be quite interested in, particularly Scott Hogan, one that's shouting out to me. But what we'll do is we'll run through the squad in just a moment, and we'll take a look at what positions that we need. So we've actually got 4 scouts with us at the moment, which is nice indeed. We'll leave them on there. I'm going to remove the instructions just for now, and like I said, because I don't really have anybody in mind of who I want to sign, so we'll let the scouts kind of let us kind of sway us a little bit. But of course, that's what you guys are for as well, kind of like my real live scouts as to who you want me to sign. So we'll take a look at that in just a moment. But before we do that, we're going to head over to the squad hub, which is something that's new again for FIFA 18. So this is how the squad sort of looks now. The team, instead of having like your squad report and squad ranking, I think they still have that, but you have this as well, where you can actually look at players and access them and add them to the transfer list. So we're going to take a little bit of a depth through the squad then. Starting in net, we have a lot of goalkeepers here. We've got Christian Walton, who's currently out on loan to Wigan Athletic. We have Robert Sanchez, Nicky Mayanapa, Tim Krul, of course, who has recently just signed for them, and Matthew Ryan, of course, Australians' #1 goalkeeper. So we actually have 2 decent goalkeepers here, which is very nice indeed. So based on that, I'm not really looking for a goalkeeper. I think potentially Matthew Ryan will be my main go-to guy, and I think I'm going to be playing Tim Krul in the cup games, which means really Sanchez, sorry mate, but there's not really a lot of need for you here at the moment. That has transfer list. His contract expires in 12 months anyway, and the same for Mainampa, 32. Sanchez is only 19, but we have Christian Walton out on loan, so he's probably going to be our sort of development goalkeeper. As such, over at right back then we have Hornby Forbes, who's currently out on loan at Accrington Stanley, it does say it there. We have Bruno Salter, we have Alice Mateu, Ezekiel Charlotto. So those are our 4 right backs, so only 3 right backs at the moment, with Hornby Forbes out on loan, of course. Charlotto looking like 28 years of age. He's probably going to be my main go-to right back, and then Salter maybe as a backup, but he is 36 years old. And Mateu doesn't look too bad. We can actually move it over to the attributes here, and we can have a little bit of a better look at them. But Mateu doesn't look that great, but he is only 21 years of age, so he has potential. So maybe looking for a right back, that's something that we can consider. Moving on into central defenders then, we appear to have quite a few of these. A couple guys out on loan there. Ben White, who is out on loan. It doesn't tell you where if you look at it like this, so we'll go back to this one. He's on at loan at Newport County, of course, along with Tom Dallison, who's also on loan at Accrington, with his fellow right back. We have Connor Goldson, who's been at the club since 2015 as a rotational player. Shane Duffy, of course, one of Brighton's main centre-backs at the moment, but only joined the club recently of last year. We have Yu Hunemia, apologies for probably botching his name, but he's not a bad player either. And of course Lewis Dunk, who's been solid for Brighton and through their sort of transformation up the ranks, and of course last year when they got promoted into the Premier League. So those are our 2 centre-backs, Lewis Dunk and Shane Duffy, probably going to be our go-to guys. And we've got Goldson and Hunemia as our rotation guys. So pretty happy in terms of centre-backs, of course, with White and Dallison also here in the club as well. Not really looking for a centre-back at this moment in time. Moving on to left-back positions, a little bit short here, but we have Liam Rosignol, but 32 years of age, so probably not going to be getting much game time here at Brighton. Gayton Bong, the 29-year-old, also probably the go-to guy, but again getting on a little bit. And then we have the 30-year-old of Marcus Suttner. So he's recently signed from Ingolstadt for 3.2 million. So of course recently joined the club means I can't really do much to him, but I don't really want to be moving any players on at the moment. But it does look like a young left back maybe on the card, so I think that's going to be where we start when we dip our toes into the transfer window at the start of this career mode. We do, of course, they're moving into the midfield roles. We have 2 central defensive midfielders who are both out on loan. Of course, Oliver Norwood on loan at my former club, essentially, of Fulham. But he looks quite impressive, actually. Only 26 years of age, so has potential when he's going back to the Championship to get some experience, but hopefully he'll come back to the club next season and he'll be looking quite good. We do then have Rohan Ince, who's currently on loan at Bury, but only 24 years of age. Not too bad of a player, to be perfectly honest with you. I can play in some good positions as well. Only 68 rated at the moment, but you never know. Moving over to the right-hand side of midfield quickly, we have Maguire Drew, who's currently out on loan at Lincoln. Only 19 years of age, but again, only a 59 rated overall. He's not a bad prospect, I suppose, but potentially we'll be utilising him next season. We'll have a look at that. We do, of course, Anthony Knockaert, Mr. Brighton, if you would. Has that something special, of course, has been at the club for quite a long time, I do believe. So definitely going to be the number 1 man at right midfield. And as a backup, we have Jordal, I believe is probably pronounced. Only 20 years of age, 65 rated. Not the best player in the world, but not too bad. So again, potentially a right midfielder is going to be more important for us at this moment in time. I don't want to sort of put Anthony Knockaert in his place and bring in a quality right midfielder, but Anthony Knockaert, as you can see there, can also play out on the left-hand side. So with Maguire Drew not looking that hot and Jordal not looking that interesting, perhaps bringing in a right midfield at the start of the season, along with our left-back, could be quite interesting. So we'll keep notes on that. For now, we'll move into the central midfield roles. We have quite a few players here to look at. Biran KL, 29 years of age, but 73 rated, so probably going to be a starter here in this first season. We of course do have Steve Sidwell, but at the age of 34 years of age, still going strong as a 71 rated old. It feels like he's been around for quite a while, not going to lie, but yeah, we shall have to see on that one. We have Jason Malumbi, the youngster, only 17 years of age, 58 rated, so not really that interesting. I'm going to actually send him out on loan whilst we're here. We have a lot of central midfielders, so we'll list him up for loan. Then we have Davy Proper, who of course they signed from PSV for £12 million. A cracking signing, in my opinion, bringing some good experience there from a highly rated club when you think about it. Of course, one of the best teams in the Eredivisie. So some good experience, played European football as well, no doubt about that. A very good player, so he'll probably be getting involved quite early on. And then we have Dale Stephens as well, 28 years of age, but not great, not the best, not the worst. But we shall have to see how that goes on. And then we have Matthias Norman, who's currently out on loan at Mold in Sweden. Over to the left-hand side of the midfield, then we do have a couple of left midfielders in the club. We have Jamie Murphy, of course, the 27-year-old Scottish fella. He's been at the club since 2015, not looking too much of a player. You can see that they're all rotation players, so we're probably looking for a starter. Perhaps Jamie Murphy could break into that one. We have Gili Skalak, who arrived at the club last year, only 68 rated, and 25 years of age, potentially not going to get that much game time here this season. And Solly March, who can play in, well, a number of positions, only 22 years of age at 71 rated, is probably going to be Mr. Go-To. Then we have Kazenga Luar, the 26-year-old Dominican Republic of Congo man over on the left-hand side. He's coming out on loan at QPR, but he looks quite an interesting player, to be honest with you. 26 years of age at 70 rated. Okay, it's not the best, and he's not going to be setting any sort of worlds on fire, but you never know. Hopefully he'll get some experience down in the Championship at QPR, and he'll be back at the club as strong as ever. Over into the central attacking midfield roles then, before we finally move on into our strike. We do, of course, have Isaiah Brown, a fantastic player in my opinion. So only actually as a rotation player here at the club at the moment, but I think he's only 20 years of age and at 71 rated. I think he does have a lot of potential, and I'm probably going to be looking to utilise him quite a bit this season, especially if we get deep into cup competitions. We have James Tilley, who probably not going to be doing a lot, to be quite honest. I'm actually going to add him to the transfer list. We don't need him. We have quite a lot of central midfielders, and a 58 rated at the age of 19. Okay, he might have potential, but probably not going to fit into my team. Then we have Pascal Gross. Of course, they signed him from Ingolstadt when they made these fantastic signings, did Brighton this season, for £10 million as well. A bit of a steal at 76 rated. The 26-year-old, he could play cam, central mid, and over on the left-hand side, which is going to be super helpful for us this season. Then we have Richie Towell, or Towal, maybe, the Ireland international. He's currently out on loan at Rotherham, 25 years of age with a 67 rated. Unless he has a really good season here at Rotherham, probably going to be looking to move him on sooner rather than later. Then we, of course, have our striking options. In fact, we then have some wingers to consider as well, but we'll look at those afterwards. So in terms of strikers, we have Toma Hamid. His contract expires in 12 months. He is currently 30 years of age and 72 rated, so probably not going to be, although really one of our highest rated players at the moment, probably not going to be looking at using him too much. We have Sam Baldock, 28 years of age, also contract expiring in 12 months. Not really too impressed by him either. We have Aaron Connolly, who's recently joined the club, as you can see, in 2017. 55 rated, but only 17 years of age. Has a bit of potential. I'd like to loan him out, but of course I can't, because he has only joined the club recently, which is weird. I don't know why I can't loan him out. I should be able to loan him out, really, couldn't you? Shouldn't you? We have, of course, Mr. Glenn Murray, who they brought in this season from Stoke, if I do recall, but 33 years of age. Not really sure why they signed him, to be perfectly honest, but we shall have to see about that one. And we also have Yona Ayunga, who's currently out on loan at Galway United, the 20-year-old Kenyan international, 59 rated. Probably needs to be picking up some experience over in Galway and improving those stats before I can start considering using him. Then finally, a couple of wingers to consider as well. Of course, we have Izquierdo. Hopefully I'm saying that. Their third biggest, well, actually their second biggest, but the third of the three big signings that we've looked at here today. A fantastic signing for them. A 24-year-old, 78 rated, by far one of the best players at the club. As a left winger, of course, signed from Club Brugge for £14 million. And if I'm right, I think we're playing Club Brugge in the pre-season tournament, so that could be quite interesting. And finally, Sufyan Ahanach, I think is how you say that name. Apologies. He has that something special. Only 21 years of age, 68 rated. I'm actually going to loan him out. Okay, I'm not going to loan him out this season because he's probably only just joined the club. So those are the players so far. A couple of players that I've added to the transfer list and to the loan list. So main positions I'm going to consider. I'm going to be looking at bringing in a right midfielder to sort of rotate along with Knockerhart. I don't want to bring anyone too interesting in. And then also potentially a left back, because we only have, our youngest left back is 29 years of age. So those are the two players I'm interested in. So with that in mind, I'm going to jump straight in to the Global Transfer Network, and I'm going to set some instructions up for these guys. So we're going to be looking at left back. was it left backs or right backs? How can I forget already? Yeah, it was left backs and then right midfields. Left backs and right midfields. Let's not forget this time. So we'll jump straight in. That's not what I wanted. Set some instructions up. So we're going to be looking at some left backs. Add instructions. So left backs. We're not really going to be looking at attributes too much, but I'm trying to bring in players probably under the age of 25. So we'll just leave that out there, and then we'll just go and get a list of left backs, and the same with the right midfielders under the age of 25. And then I'll leave it sort of for you guys to sort of numb down for me, and let me know what you guys think. So we'll send the scouts out there. Let's just see quickly where my scouts are located. So I've got England, Germany, France, and you're not anywhere. So I'm going to send you to Spain, and that, not Northern Europe, but Central Europe. Here we go. Okay, it's not even Central Europe. Okay, it's actually in Southern Europe, but I suppose it's whatever floats your boat, I guess. We'll actually send him off to Spain, which will be another good place to pick up some youngsters. So we should advance forward. Obviously, this video probably not going to be too much gameplay today. We're going to start off the first game. We do have Club Brugge in our group as well, along with Standard Liège. Gomares are the other club in the group, and then of course Hull, who we saw along with Kane, Sivasspor and Belenenses. Hull probably got the easiest group there. Standard Liège and Club Brugge not going to be too easy for us. So we'll advance forward. We'll play this game against Club Brugge, which will be the first game of the season. Then we'll call it a day here, and I'll get this video up for you guys to provide some feedback and some comments on where you want me to go moving forward. Again, like I said earlier, I'll keep the highlights of the pre-season tournament to a minimum. We've had a bid in though for Meampa, who of course we added to the transfer list a moment ago. We've had an offer come in of 350,000. My assistant manager reckons he's worth between 230 and 340. So as they've offered 350, we're just going to go straight in and we shall accept that offer. Hopefully he'll accept his contract in due course, and we can start to move one player out and another player in. So nothing else really has happened. We're going to quickly jump over to the squad. In fact, we have had a transfer offer for James Tilley, who... Now, did I add James? Was James Tilley the person I was looking to move on? I think he is, to be perfectly honest. Not that interested. They've offered us 200,000, which I'm actually quite happy with. So again, we'll accept the offer and we'll start to move a couple of players on. So before we jump into the first game, we'll do our squad. Of course, you don't get to see the squad lineups during pre-season. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the squad here, but as it looks set up at the moment, it looks pretty how much I want it. We'll play with this formation. If this is the formation Brighton use, I'm happy to do that. Glenn Murray up front, probably not too interested, but Gross, Proper and Stevens in the middle of the park. Knockerhart, of course, out on the right, March out on the left, Sutton out on the left of the defence, Dunk and Duffy, of course, the centre-back, and Salter, the captain, with Ryan in goal. As I said, obviously, Izquierdo is going to be coming in. Oh, not in there. Something I want to mention about FIFA at the moment is it appears it's very sort of a bit laggy delayed between pressing buttons and it actually moving onto the team. So I'll sort the bench out quickly as well. Don't want to bring... Schletter's actually a better player than Salter, but Salter is currently the captain, so I'm going to leave it at that at the minute. Let me know what you guys think. We'll leave Glenn Murray up front. We'll see how he gets on. We'll probably take Bong off and bring on a centre-back. And of course want Tim Krul to be my other goalkeeper. So that's probably going to be the bench for now. I want to... that's fine, and we'll leave these guys as it is. So that's going to be the bench. That's going to be the first team lineup. In terms of roles, of course, Salter the captain. Knockerhart over the free kicks is... Izquierdo's not that great at free kicks. Knockerhart actually looks pretty decent, so we'll leave him on that. In terms of long free kicks, we'll let Proper whip them in. We'll give Knockerhart the... What's his penalty stats like? Only 68. Probably won't give that. Looks like Glenn Murray's going to be our penalty taker. And for corners, we'll let Izquierdo and Knockerhart take those. So those are going to be our roles. That's going to be how the team looks for now, until we sort of move on some players or bringing some new players at the club. And we shall... Yeah, so we'll jump into the first game. Anyway, here against Club Brugge. And I'll see you at the start of the game. So then here we are live from Forest Park, I think, which definitely is not in Belgium, which is where the competition was supposed to be held. But never mind, and our first game is against Club Brugge. So of course, former Club Brugge man, whose name escapes me, I do apologise. Was it Izquierdo that this time from Club Brugge? I can't remember off the top of my head, but we shall have to find out. You can see the team lineups scrolling along the bottom if you want to take a quick look at those. And this is the first game I've actually played on Legendary, so, well, apart from the demo, so please bear with me. We'll see how it goes. And it's going to fall for Gross straight away, and what a start to the career mode. We're 3 minutes in, and really, with the first sort of kick of the ball, there seems to be a goalkeeper warming up on the touchline, which is very random, but Gross has fired one home straight away here against Club Brugge. We're just 3 minutes into this career mode, and what a fantastic strike by Gross, and he's followed Brighton home. It's a lovely setup. I'm not really sure who was marking him. I thought, you know what? Let's just have a pop. Had a pop I did, and it ends up in the back of the net. And under 4 minutes played, it's Brighton 1, Club Brugge 0. Simons does win it back. Vossen knocks it forward, and it's all the way forward to Diaby. And within, well, 15 minutes of us going 1-0 ahead and firing us out of the blocks, a very good pass by the Club Brugge player, and it's tucked in behind there. Diaby gets in the space. This is a fantastic ball. I'm not too sure about the defence here. A little bit slow. Abu Diaby, not the fastest player in the world. This is Abu Diaby, I'm assuming. Not sure what Sutner is really doing there. And just like that, Club Brugge have managed to pull off an equaliser. Here comes Palacios. Another ball whipped in. It was missed by the defender, and Vossen was the first man to it, and it was a good header, but it was a good save as well. Not too sure about the defence. Oh, and it's given away straight into Diaby, and Diaby! Well, I thought we scored a good goal inside 3 minutes. 30 minutes later, and Diaby has just absolutely destroyed us here. I don't know what that pass was, and that's something that we've got to sort out. But what a strike from the man himself, Mr. Diaby there. He equalised 15 minutes later when we scored, and then just another 13 to put his team in front. And the dream start has turned into a nightmare first half here. And with half an hour played, it's now Brighton 1, Club Brugge 2. And it's Abdoulaye Diaby, not the Diaby that I thought it may well have been. But either way, Diaby has put his team ahead here. Not the best of halves that we wanted. They played it through. So coming up to the end of the first half here, Ryan finally gets it in his hands. 3 minutes have been added on as we'll knock this one forward to Murray, and then hopefully if we can boot it forward. Not quite where I aimed it, but never mind. And that is going to be half time. So it was a dream start inside 3 minutes with Gross firing a wonder strike from outside the box. Fantastic way to start. But then Abdoulaye Diaby just showed up inside 17 minutes. It was a fantastic through ball, to be fair. Got on the end of it to equalise. And then a wonder strike by himself this time round in 31st gives Club Brugge the lead. At half time it's Brighton 1, Club Brugge 2. So just taking a look at the other competition, the other group. Sorry, it's Belenese lead Hull by a goal to 1 and Kane leads Sivasspor by 2 goals to 0. In our group, it's actually Guimaras who leads Standard Liège 2 goals to 0, which could potentially help us out here if we don't pick up a result here. And as I said, guys, I like to make the 7 substitutions at half time. It's a little bit of a risky tactic, but it's something I've always done. So we'll bring Tim Krul in net. Not been impressed with Ryan so far, I'm not going to lie. We'll bring Chiletto over on the right hand side. We'll take Duffy out for Hunamia, who's probably not going to be lasting long here at the club. We'll bring in Isaiah Brown. Stephen I've not been impressed with, so he can come out. I'm actually going to leave the left-hand side of the midfield and Kale, but we will bring Hernid over on the right-hand side. It's Izquierdo and Knockout actually been playing quite well. Knockout looking a little bit tired, so potentially we'll utilise these 2 subs later on in the game, but 5 subs made for now. Let's see if we can turn this one round in the second half. We'll go slightly attacking as well. Use those last 2 substitutions to try and get something, but it's going to be too late now because the ball has bounced and it's fine in, and it's Diaby who's actually got ourselves a hat-trick, which is very disappointing in my opinion. He's been by far the best player on the pitch here today, and fully deserved his hat-trick, no doubt. But questionable 2 of his goals, questionable defending from Marseille's, which that needs to improve early on. That was just a bit of a mess, and very clever from Diaby to be the fastest to react to a little bit of a showboating finish there. I'm not quite sure he needed to sort of go for the scissor kick essentially, but well, he's took that one away, and with just 10 minutes to go, it's Brighton 1, Club Brugge 3. Should be able to. I say we should be able to win that, but we can't. So just 3 minutes to go then. I think that's going to be game. As soon as I win possession, but I've given it straight away to Diaby. Oh, it's not going to be game just yet. Oh, well, it is. I'm not quite sure what that was all about. As Tim Krul catches it, and referee calls for full time. So our first game in charge of Brighton here, unfortunately, ends in a defeat. And it started as a dream. Gross with an absolutely fantastic goal inside 4 minutes to give us the lead. But Abdoulaye Diaby there, who went on to score a hat-trick, equalised in the 17th. Wonder goal led in the 31st, and put his team daylight ahead of us in, I think it was around the 70th minute of the second half. He picks up the match ball, fully deserved by Diaby. Disappointing result from us. Going forward, we looked okay. Defensively, we struggled. It was the 80th minute that sealed the deal. It's finished here at full time. It's Brighton 1, Club Brugge 3. So then a couple of the results. Belenese end up winning 2-0. Kane win 3-0. And Guneres win 4-0. So that's going to shake the group up a little bit. I imagine, well, I don't know who we're playing next actually. We've had another transfer offer for James Tilley. We'll look at that one in a minute, but we've also had an offer for Gaetan Bong. Now, he wants to head off to Leeds. Don't want to do that just yet. I'm actually going to... well, we're going to negotiate, and before we leave this episode off, we shall have a quick look at the new... the new interactive transfers. So, hello, glad you make it. Let's take a seat as we meet with the Leeds representative. I'm not 100% sure about selling Bong, but if we're going to sell him, submit. I'd like to. I'd ask for a premium of £5 million. As I said, if it rolls over, there we go. I'm not going to add a sell-on clause, so we'll submit that offer. And I'll let them know that we're not willing to take less than £5 million for him if they want us. Well, if they want him at the club, I don't mind selling him to Leeds. Well, that was the end of that one, I guess. That was never going to happen, but oh well. At least now we know. Can I actually remove these? I can't. So anyway, we've had another offer come in from James Tilley. Sorry, it's Yeovil Town who have come in. We've already accepted an offer of 200,000 from. I think it was Crew Alexander. I can't see, can I? Oh, it is Crew. It does say it there. But Yeovil Town have matched the price, so I can see it like this. Actually, that kind of works. So we'll accept that one as well, and we'll let James Tilley kind of decide himself over that one. We'll advance forward a little bit more just to see if any of those deals go through. And we'll also see if our scouts come back with any players. So nothing happening just as of yet. And you can see, so we'll have those players next. Of course, international management is something that I'm not going to be looking too much into. Unfortunately, Mayanappa's transfer talks have broke down. They couldn't reach a contact. Crotone have pulled out negotiations, and that's a little bit annoying. We've had a bid for Robert Sanchez, who is another player I'd like to move on from the club. They're only offering 115, but he's only value. We'll accept that one. I'll give them that one. We can move Sanchez out of the club. It's like I said, the goalkeeper not really too interested in using him, so he can leave the club. And that leads us into Guimarães as our next game. We'll take a quick look at our transfers. So remember, we're looking for right midfielders and left backs. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Here's a couple of left backs that the guys have picked up so far. Ryan Sessegnon, I'd actually be very interested in. Of course, a Fulham player, but didn't use him at Fulham last year because he wasn't on the team at the start of the season. So I'm actually very interested in him. So I'm actually going to add him to our shortlist. A couple of other players out here. Obviously, the likes of Luke Shaw, just not going to happen, is it? We could potentially. We have quite a high wage budget. We could afford him, but at the same time, I don't think it's a reasonable sort of bid. Quite a few players here for you guys to look at. Just seeing if there's anyone that really shouts out to me. David Alaba. Oh yeah, £39 million, of course. We'll remove him from the book. Steven Zubar is actually an interesting player. I'm actually going to add him to the shortlist as well. Could be interesting to bring into the club. So we'll do that. Those are the right backs at the moment. Let's have a quick look at the right midfielders that they've brought in. Marcus Edwards, the young Tottenham player. Reece Nelson. None of these players. Kemar Roof, of course, a player that we used at Fulham. No, it wasn't, at Portsmouth, for those of you that that remember that series from 2 FIFAs ago, of course. So not looking at using Kemar Roof again. None of these players I'm too aware of, but I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comment section below. So those are the right midfielders. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that. Will, of course, will be the end of today's episode. We'll leave on the table, but it's not looking too good. And Guimaraes, arguably the weakest team in the group, are actually top of the group, and we're only third thanks to that goal difference. So if we can pick up 3 points here, we might have a chance of advancing. But thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to drop a like on the video if you did enjoy. Why don't subscribe as well if you're new around here for more FIFA 18 content. Until next time, goodbye.